Well, we are starting to see even more cracks inside of the Republican support for Donald Trump, this time coming from none other than longtime conservative radio host superstar Eric Erickson. I guess Mr. Erickson has been a little bit not super Trumpy recently, and his non-super Trumpiness, even though he says he still supports Trump, but his criticisms of Trump, which have been valid, have apparently pissed off some of his Donald Trump cult member listeners, causing them to wish horrible things upon his family and hope that he gets fired from his conservative radio gig. And this, in turn, led Mr. Erickson to go absolutely scorched earth against the Trump cult in a recent diatribe on his program. And I'm going to read this word for word because I do think, for the most part, this is a pretty damn good rant here. But here is what Eric Erickson said after constant backlash from Trump supporters. Quote, "Y'all let me just lay all my cards on the table for all of you. I don't like either of these candidates. You may like Donald Trump, I don't. Am I willing to support him? Yes, I've probably given him more money than you have. But I don't like him. I don't think he's a good person. He's cheated on multiple wives, including with a porn star. The only people who believe his denials on that are his cult. Yeah, I think he's got a cult of personality," Erickson says. "These are people who I can spend 3 straight days praising the things Trump has done and then say one critical thing and they email, 'I can't believe you hate Donald Trump. You should be taken off the radio station. Your wife should die of cancer and it should all be your fault.' You know, screw you people. I don't like him. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. I can tell you I've given him more money, probably 9 out of 10 of the people who email me angrily that I don't like Donald Trump, and so I should shut up and be taken off the radio because I'm not willing to hump his leg like you are? And you've decided everybody else must hump his leg or it's insufficient because you embarrass yourself. You know you've embarrassed yourself. And so long as you can bully everyone else into humping his leg too, then you can say, well, we're all doing it. We're all in this together." He then continued, "I don't like either of these people. I might vote for one of them because I prefer his policies more than her, but I don't have to like all of them. I actually think character counts. I still believe character counts. Call me naive, but I would still prefer a president of the United States who's not a serial adulterer or a professional careerist in government who will say and do anything to get elected. Surprise! I guess I'm too old school for some of you. The parties have decided to pick the 2 worst possible people to be their nominees, and the rest of us are supposed to pick." Whew. All right. You almost had me. I gotta admit, Eric Erickson, you almost had me, okay? Everything you said about the Trump cult is 100% true. There is no room for disagreement. You say the slightest thing saying, hey, maybe he shouldn't do this, they come at you like a rabid Wolverine. And you're right about the fact that they insist everybody hump his leg. You're right about the fact that, they think everybody else is doing it, so everybody else should do it. Now, where you lost me is when you, of course, correctly pointed out he's a horrible person. And then you said, and I'm going to vote for him anyway. Damn. Really? You do realize that you don't get to claim any kind of moral high ground on that issue. When you're like, I still think character matters, but I'm going to vote for the guy with the horrible character because, tax cuts. That's what you're saying. You can't tell us character matters to you and then vote for the guy who you literally just went off on a tangent on about how horrible his character is. If you're willing to put character aside just because of tax cuts or deregulation or whatever conservative policy you like, those are the only 2 y'all have, then you don't care about character. You're a liar. You're a grifter. You're saying one thing and doing the other. So don't try to act like you have any kind of moral high ground here because you're just like all of the other disgusting little Donald Trump sycophants. There's so many great examples of this, by the way, not just Eric Erickson, right? Bill Barr, Donald Trump's former attorney general. He has spent several years going out there, even going as far as to say Trump's a threat to democracy. And then what does Bill Barr say when people ask, well, then who are you going to vote for? Well, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because, I don't want Democrats to be in power here. So many of these people even ones that served with Donald Trump, and they saw his corruption and his temper and his ego and his mental unfitness. They know how bad he is. They know what a threat he is, but they're all like, well, I'm still a Republican. I'm still going to do the Republican thing. I'm going to vote for the horrible guy, but I promise you all right here, right now, boy, I'm going to be unhappy about it. It makes me so mad to do it, but I'm sure as hell going to do it. They think they can have their cake and eat it too, but you can't. Conservatives, y'all have to make the choice. Either you're okay with having a serial adulterer, as Eric Erickson called him, a convicted felon, a convicted felon who actually could be convicted even more. We still have his sentencing date coming up on September 18th. Fraudster, according to the results of that New York trial. A grifter, a con man. If you're okay with all of those things, then be okay with all of those things. And of course, the Capitol riot, the coup attempt, the election subversion, all of that. If you're okay with it, that's one thing. I mean, it's stupid, don't get me wrong, but at least those people are being honest with themselves, saying, you know what? Who cares? I like it. But you can't go out there and say that all of those things are bad, or some of those things are bad, and some of them are made up, but the others, they're totally bad, but then still say, but I'm going to support him. And in the case of Eric Erickson, who says, like, I don't like him at all, and I don't like his morals. And then you're like, but I've given him more money than any of you a-holes, right? So you're not only supporting him and still going to vote for him, you're giving him your, and I use this term so loosely, hard-earned money because you like him. These people on the right are the biggest hypocrites that I think this country has ever seen, ever. They all claim, oh, we hate the Trump thing. We hate the Trump cult. We hate the Trump policies. We hated the coup. We hate the convictions. We hate the philandering. We hate all of it. But if you'll excuse me, I have to go donate more money to his campaign because, by God, I can't have a Democrat win. You folks have gotten so tribal to the point of just being dumb. There is no other way to describe this. All of these people out there, the former administration officials, the former, Trump followers, conservative media, all of y'all are the same. And you're all dumb. Just dumb as a box of rocks. And you try to pretend that you somehow have any kind of moral high ground because you don't support what he does. But technically, you will support it because you're going to go back to the polling booth in November and vote for it for a third time. America's Lawyer has launched its own YouTube channel. Now, this channel, of course, is still in its early phases of development, but you can help grow it by subscribing. Just go to youtube.com/TheAmericasLawyer, and you'll get all of the great content from Mike Papantonio and myself that we produce every single week.